What we'd like to talk about first is the technology behind our energy saving line and the features and benefits that this technology provides. The idea of power quality perfection, power factor correction, harmonics filtration, and voltage regulation is not new. The truth is that there have been products like metal capacitors that have been used to improve phase quality and power factor correct for 100 years. The truth of the matter is, though, that a lot of gains have been made in power quality regulation and power factor correction over the last 20 or 30 years specifically. In the 70s, when NASA was designing the shuttle program, they made huge strides in power quality correction for the shuttle program, finding it easier to correct quality of power not at the distribution center, but at the disruption of the power quality itself. So I was told by one MIT engineer that works for Texas Instruments that taking one extra battery to space is nearly $1 million. That's how precious that payload is. So the idea of taking a very expensive 100-year-old heavy technology into space was not the best way to do it. And at Satic, we believe definitively, and you'll get to know this when you spend more time with us, to use the best quality components you can, to meticulous build quality so that the products last for years and perform. And we truly want you and your customer to get an amazing result from this. Well, the strides that have been taken in technology caused us to go in absolutely new direction in the way that we regulate power, phase correct, etc. to everybody else in the market today. We don't know of anyone that builds the way we do, uses the product quality that we do, and the various wiring techniques that we do. And we do this because we're passionate about it, and we believe that going green and saving energy is a game of inches. We're never someone that's going to tell you putting a 100-year-old run capacitor on your load phase to phase is going to cut your power bill in half. We don't believe that to be the case. But if done properly, if done intelligently, with meticulous build quality, there are gains to be had. So with those gains, we added many features and benefits that I'm going to go over with you right now. In our game of inches, there are 5 major features and benefits to the Satic product line that we want you to get for yourself, to own for yourself, and to be intelligent, to be able to intelligently communicate to the customer to help them make a good buying proposition and a good buying decision. We believe definitively that the value of these features and benefits far outweighs the cost to the customer. So if you can clearly communicate the features and benefits, you should get a sale. I also want to guarantee to you as a businessman and as a human being that the 5 features and benefits that we're going to talk about, the products definitively do and do better than anybody else in the market today at any price. The first one I want to talk to you about is simply surge protection. Surge protection is something that's been around since we started using alternating current. You all own several surge protectors in your life, and over the years you'll buy more. Why? Because it's an inexpensive and easy way to protect the things in your life. And what Satic wants to do, it is our passion to make the expensive electronics and motors in your world run cooler, run quieter potentially, last longer, and perform perfectly, saving you money by running more efficiently and lasting longer. So, surge protection. Product line of the Satic Energy Savers, part of the Power Perfect package we call it, is some of the finest surge protection available on the market today. What's normally used for surge protection is an item called a varistor. Most commonly a metal oxide varistor, which is a small component that when it sees too many volts will shrug those extra volts as heat so that it can see extra volts several times, shrug them as heat without failing. If it sees too high a voltage, the little device will fail, opening the circuit, failing, destroying itself, giving its life for your equipment, for your TV or whatever, doing its job. A couple of things about that. Number one, some of the most expensive things we have might be our washer and dryer in the home, definitely the dishwasher. It's very hard to get this kind of protection to those items. So, with Satic's line of energy savers, we have some of the best surge protection on the market, and we back it up. We back it up with a $25,000 insurance policy should a transformer fail, an out-of-control car hit a tree that shorts out the lines, lightning, you name it. It's very reassuring to know that anytime you plug something into the wall, it's protected. Protected by a $25,000 warranty and a company that takes it very seriously. That's number one. Robust surge protection with a $25,000 warranty on their TV, computers, etc. The second feature and benefit that I'd like to discuss with you and educate you on is voltage regulation. Voltage regulation may not be something that comes to mind very much, but I assure you it's something that you and your customers want. And when you explain it to them, it's an excellent selling point and a feature and benefit of value. It became very important to me when I moved into the home that I live in now. I live in a subdivision with 400 homes. I live 4 houses down from the main substation that powers it. In 4 years, it's going to be hard to believe, but I assure you I'm being candid. I am on my 3rd washer and dryer. I hadn't gone through a washer and dryer in my whole previous life as an adult. I'm on my 3rd dishwasher, same goes. My 2nd garage door opener, I've never had one of those fail. My 3rd microwave, and I'd gone through numerous TVs and other small, not very expensive electronics and didn't know why, but I knew I had a problem with my wiring. I hired a master electrician to come in, who's also a friend of mine, in business together actually, we weren't at the time, and he let me know that my voltage was consistently at 130. People often say 110 and 220. Please know it hasn't been 110 in America since the 50s. Our voltage is 120 and 240. 240 is actually 208. We don't want to confuse you, we'll explain that later. But if a light bulb or an electronic is designed to run on 110 to 120 volts, 130 is very detrimental. Since we put the Energy Saver Power Perfect package on my home about 3 years ago now, I haven't gone through any of those electronics as a normal person shouldn't. The Satic Energy Saver line has excellent high quality components to regulate voltage. Something that needs 120 is going to get 120 and 240, 240. What's that mean? It means that TVs are going to last longer. Light bulbs are going to last much longer because there's something that's very sensitive to that. And equipment is just going to have a longer, happier, healthier life. So high quality voltage regulation is the second feature and benefit. The third feature and benefit that I'd like to talk to you about is one of the most important for this product line because it's something that's very common in energy management and something that's raised a lot of questions and hype over the last 100 years. Alternating current runs in a sinusoidal waveform, and the shape and consistency of that waveform is called the electricity's power factor. We know you've probably heard of power factor, it's something discussed a lot. Power factor is that electricity's ability to perform work. If you have electricity at 70 power factor, just so you know, 1.00 or 100 is perfect. If you have a power factor of 70, then it requires 30% more current, 30% more amps to perform the same amount of work. One item that's been used for nearly 100 years to correct waveform is the capacitor. What we have in this box is a 100-year-old technology. It is a metal cylindrical capacitor called a run capacitor. This type of product is often used in factories, wherever you have a motor, air conditioner, etc. What a capacitor can do by leading voltage is improve the power factor from, let's say, 70 to 90, just for an example, so you can reduce the amps needed by 20%. So if you have an air conditioner, let's say at an 80 power factor using 5 amps, by power factor correcting it, you can reduce those amps to 4. Will that lower your bill? It can. It doesn't always. Let's talk about some of the things that it does do. First of all, if that air conditioner is now running on 4 amps versus 5, that extra amp was being converted into heat. So that air conditioner is going to run better now. It's going to run cooler, and by running cooler, almost certainly lower its heat. If you lower its heat and runs more efficiently, you can save a little bit on your bill. Another way that you save on your bill in this situation is in I squared R losses. That is a variable of resistance. As electricity moves from your distribution panel to your motor, your air conditioner, your dishwasher, etc., it isn't traveling down gold wire. It's traveling usually down copper wire, and that copper wire has a level of resistance. That resistance will increase the amps, reduce the efficiency, and generate some heat. Anytime you use electricity to heat, it's called an I squared R loss. It increases your bill a little bit and isn't as effective. Also, when you're moving these electrons, when you're moving this electricity from your substation or your distribution panel to your motors, out of phase, it's harder to push that electricity than it is in phase. So, for example, if you can make a motor run on less amps, you're almost guaranteed going to have less heat, both in the motor and in the line, and save some money. There are other places where this will save money on the inrush. There are 2 types of electrical load in all of our lives for sure. One is resistant, the second is inductive. The burner on your stove is resistive load. It doesn't want electricity, it doesn't call for it or require it. We use electricity, move electricity through the coil, it reacts and gives off a byproduct of heat. Since it doesn't want electricity, the power factor is always perfect, 1.00, because it's not drawing it, it's fighting it. The second type of load is inductive. Inductive is more like sucking on a straw. It pulls it. So, when your air conditioner, which let's say is on a 50 amp breaker and requires, let's say for example, 7 amps to operate, when it inrushes, when it spools up, it's like sucking on a straw and will request suck amps from your distribution panel. On a 50 amp panel, we'll easily see 20 to 40 amps in most cases go to your air conditioner that really only requires 7. So you've just requested more amps from your distribution panel that you've pulled from the utility in a low power factor traveling down the line to your air conditioner. So if you can mitigate the inrush, how much electricity goes to the appliance, and then how many amps flow to the appliance, you absolutely positively can make that machine, through good technology, run cooler and quieter, definitely last longer, and save money on your bill. However, our engineers do not believe, and we've never believed, that a 100-year-old run capacitor is the best way to do this. Let's face it, 4 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, your family's home, the dishwasher's running, the washer and dryer are going, your house is alive, and there's a lot of amps going through your distribution panel. At that point, the power factor is very important. That plays into your lighting as all electricity is connected. Even your coffee grinder, the minute that coffee grinder comes on, that changes power factor for that entire phase. I don't know if you knew that. If your coffee grinder is, let's say, on the A phase, when you hit it for the duration that it's on, it has effectively changed power factor for your whole home. That entire phase, rather. Now at night, when the family's in bed, what's on? A clock radio? No lighting to affect power factor? No motors to affect power factor? You could actually be giving back a lot of those amps that a product like this saved during the day. Also, going green is very popular. Saving electricity is on the minds of almost everyone in America. Our financial leaders, even our president, is talking about saving money all the time. So the truth is, Satic technology is the newest and latest advancement in energy-saving technology of this kind. We do not use any products like this whatsoever. The products that we use, without giving away too much of our proprietary information, many of them were designed by NASA in the 70s when they were working on the Challenger and the shuttle program, where they realized, and I was told by an MIT PhD at Texas Instruments who was working on the shuttle program, that taking one extra battery into space was nearly $1 million. That's how precious that cargo was. And that all of the substations on the Challenger system needed to have the highest quality power factor possible, and that it was best to correct that power factor at the device, measured to the device, perfect for that device, rather than at the battery system. So, ideally, rather than having it at your distribution panel, the best way to truly power factor correct is not with a run capacitor, but with a NASA-designed power factor correction capacitor and closest to the load. They also can't be of a fixed value. They also have to come on and off with the equipment. They also can't just be wired phase to phase. They also need to be wired phase to neutral. And as we discussed before, candidly, putting a 100-year-old run capacitor, no matter what anyone tells you, will not drastically reduce your bill. If the technology is misapplied, it can actually increase your bill. In order to save these precious milliamps and these inches that we've been talking about, what you need is a variety of multiple power factor correction capacitors on the load in a way that can come on and off the load, on and off with the appliances and the things in your life, match themselves to the size of the load, and be wired in a configuration that gets the entire load. Not to beat on this product, because there are applications where this product can be very effective. But what we see is two made in China, 35 microfarad metal dielectric run capacitors. This is 100-year-old technology that on the perfect motor would save some electricity while that motor was running. The minute that motor's not running, if this was on the load, it would actually increase your bill. How about that? It's also wired phase to phase. Let's talk about that just for a minute. In a home's electrical system in the United States, we refer to our two-phase wiring as single phase. It's not true single phase. In Europe, it's true single phase. In the United States, we have two phases, A and B. We call it single phase because two phase was already taken. Isn't that interesting? I'm not even going to charge you for this tidbit. We call it single phase. So that means in your home, you actually have three electrical pathways. You have A to B, phase to phase, or cross phase, as it's called. You also have A to neutral, and you have B to neutral. So the majority of power-saving devices that we've taken a look at, and trust us, when engineering our product line, you can already tell we've gone a completely different direction. Nearly every product that we looked at, we bought them off eBay from every provider we could find. We opened them with high-speed drills and sometimes even hammers. And you know what we found? It is almost always one or two capacitors wired phase to phase. What's that mean? Do you know what it means at my house? At my house, I have several 240 things. My dryer is 240. 120 off A, 120 off B, 240. I'd like to explain to you just for a minute that it's actually 208, because when you add a second phase to the first, you get a factor of 0.73. So when you add 120 plus 0.73 times 120, which is actually 88, you get 208 volts. So, my dryer, my range, my stove, my air conditioner, and in my home, my alpha bed. I have an environmental capsule for my health, and it's also 208 volts. So I have 4 things. I've got my air conditioner, my stove, my alpha bed, and my dryer. So this product in my house is going to affect 4 things. It's going to affect 4 things while they're working. I'll bet most of the products that you've seen like this are the same way. They're 1 or 2 capacitors wired face to face, having very little effect. That's why guys at the utility and electrical engineers get so cross when you tell them that putting a run capacitor on their load face to face will reduce electricity. It will not. It will only when those items are running. So, since we have 3 paths of electricity, phase to phase, A to B, A to neutral, and B to neutral, it's our belief and our strong conviction that you need 3 complete systems. You need 3 surge protectors. You need 3 voltage regulators. You need 3 sets of power factor correction capacitors that are going to do several things. They're going to lower the amp load, as we've talked about, by increasing the phase. They're also going to store electricity for that all-important inrush. As discussed, this is a game of inches. So the inrush of the inductive load, pulling from the utility versus pulling from a battery pack or capacitor bank, is very important. So I'm going to get into that in just a minute. That is the 3rd feature and benefit of the Global Energy Saver and Power Perfect package. Next, I'd like to discuss with you and educate you and inform you on the 4th feature and benefit of the Satic Energy Saver line in our technology. And that is harmonics reduction and the true cleaning of the power. It used to be that the neutral pathway had a very light load. When I was talking about storage of electricity and cleaning the power earlier, we were talking about the fact that your electrical system has 3 pathways, A to B, A to neutral, and B to neutral. Well, that A to neutral and B to neutral is different now than it's ever been in American history. Why? Because of switching power supplies. You see, friends, you store DC, direct current, in a battery. You store AC, alternating current, which must move, in a capacitor. So everything in your life with a battery is DC. You can identify this by that small black box that comes in the cord. For many printers or DVRs or definitely laptops, cell phones, games, iPods, etc. When everybody had one of these items or 2, it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now when everybody has 2 or 3 per family member. So let's talk about that. Since these items run on direct current, they are very susceptible to phase quality. They don't want an AC sine wave, they want direct current. So the electrical engineer in Japan or China, an intelligent person who knows that their product is susceptible to this, tries to move those negative harmonics to neutral to get them off the line. So when you have DC, when you have a switching power supply, you're distorting waveform. Every time you have something DC on your line, you're killing the waveform, you're causing disruptive harmonics, etc. You're making the things in your life need more electricity than they do. They're going to run hotter. It'll affect your bill a little bit and the performance of your stuff. The Satic line is the only line we know of that also wires each of the products phase to neutral. So remember when I was talking about power factor correction and how most of the products that we've seen are only A to B or phase to phase and would actually only affect very few things in your world, how do you get to everything else? Well, outlets are phase to neutral. So half the outlets in your home, roughly, are A to neutral. The other half are B to neutral. So when you plug in your iPod, your iPhone, etc., these switching power supplies are putting negative harmonics on the line, disrupting the phase quality, and hurting everything on that line. And if you don't have something A to neutral or B to neutral, if you only have something cross-phase, you're not doing anything to protect them, to regulate the voltage, or recapture any of that energy. So the fourth product feature, the harmonics reduction recapturing system that's unique to our product, is wired each of those phases to neutral and is designed to not only clean but recapture that energy. So think about it, all day when the iPod and the iPhone and all those things are plugged in and you're sloughing all of these milliamps because their engineer knew that they're susceptible to get them off the line, you now have a recovery system. So the line is in phase, far superior power factor correction than anything on the market today, which is important since the truth is it's a game of inches. You really have to get those inches. And now, when your air conditioner or your dishwasher or even coffee grinder in rush, as we were talking about it, sucking on a straw when they pull, now you're not pulling from the utility, you're pulling from your battery, your capacitor bank, and much of that electricity is totally recycled, recaptured electricity. So what else does this mean? Remember when you were a kid and your mom vacuumed and you saw it on the television? Sure. This product means that TV is going to be picture perfect. You ever hear blow dryer or something on the radio? This product is going to be pitch perfect. It's going to make everything run better, cleaner, crisper, and save you money, and it really will. The fifth of the features and benefits from the Energy Saver line and the Power Perfect product line is electromagnetic field reduction. EMFs and electromagnetic fields have really come front and center these last couple of years in popular culture. If you want to become a quick expert in EMFs, electromagnetic fields and their radiation, do yourself a favor, do your homework. Get yourself to Google or YouTube and simply put in EMFs are dangerous and hit enter, or EMFs are harmful and hit enter. And you will get a plethora of websites and YouTube videos of the harmful effects of EMFs. This is a selling feature by itself to the right customer far beyond the requested value or asking price of any of the Satic line. We want you to know definitively that we designed the Satic line to reduce EMFs, although admittedly never for any effect it may have on the human body, on animal life or plant life. We designed the product to reduce EMFs because of their harmful effect on equipment. One of the things that we consistently preach is that this is a game of inches. But if you do it right, if you capture all the inches there are, then the equipment in your life will run more efficiently. And when those pieces of equipment run more efficiently, they'll save you money. They'll save the customer money not only on the utility bill, enough that they'll truly see it, but also in making those things perform better, run cooler. When they run cooler, your air conditioner's not fighting them, and last longer. So we designed this product line to definitively reduce electromagnetic fields and electromagnetic field radiation. We're not health professionals, we're engineers. Our degrees are not in the health field, but truly, if you have EMFs, which we'll show you on a meter, and want less for whatever reason, our line is definitively proven to drastically reduce EMFs So to quickly go over the 5 again, it's surge protection that's quality, American made, and backed up by a true $25,000 warranty and insurance policy. It is voltage regulation that you can count on that's going to help your equipment last for years. It's power factor correction that will not be argued by an engineer because it is not a run capacitor phase to phase. It is 18 small polycarbonate NASA designed X2 capacitors wired phase to phase and phase to neutral in a variety of firing sequences and energy recapturing. It is true harmonics reduction. It is the epitome of clean power, which also equals energy recapturing, energy recycling, and further savings on the bill. And finally, it is electromagnetic field and electromagnetic field radiation drastically reduced and filtered. If you can communicate these intelligently to the customer, then you can make a sale. You can earn money for yourself and look in the mirror knowing that you're doing the customer true good, that the things in their life will last longer and run better, and their bill will go down. We guarantee it. We've got the third-party data to back it up, and we're going to show you now on 3 meters that we do not make. We simply buy them off the internet like everyone else, and we will now definitively prove what we're saying. Thank you.